Hello everyone and welcome to our show. Today we discuss about building your digital marketing agency, how you can grow your business to serve your clients, to get high results. And I'm so excited to discuss this topic with Brock Murray. How are you?
I'm doing well. How about you, Anatoly?
I'm doing great. I'm so excited about this episode because I have my SEO agency. It's hard time because my business is in Ukraine. But yeah, I think Ukrainian people will win this war. Yeah, it's really hard. But anyway, I'm so excited to learn more about that because I want to grow my business to extend my services to many different countries. Can
Mhm.
you tell? Before we start, about your experience, background, and why you decided to share with us about building marketing agency.
Yeah, absolutely. So first of all, thanks for having me on the show. This is really exciting and a great
Yeah.
opportunity. So a little bit about myself. My background started in web design at the age of kind of 14. When I was in grade 9, the teacher taught us a little bit of HTML, and from there, I kind of started my passion into the industry of web. Right, started off building like online gaming using coding, learned PHP. And that was how I got into coding. And I come from a family of entrepreneurs. So my aunt, my uncle, my grandfather all had their own businesses. During my teen years, I was kind of always the go-to for, I need this website set up, or I need this added, or I need help with my internet, anything around IT, right?
Mm-hmm.
But that gave me a lot of experience in building up experience in web. And eventually, when I was turned 24, I had been doing some freelance web projects and things of that sort in my city. And I ended up my business partner now, Eddie. We had known each other through some various networks. And we ended up I was doing a barter with him. So I was helping him with growing his business website. He had like an IT business. So helping him do his SEO, helping him build his website. And we were bartering at the time. Like he gave me an office, like a desk space, and I would do his stuff. And that was kind of our exchange. But then he kind of said, like, what do you think about going into business together? I have some clients, maybe we could do something. So we ended up just I said, why not? We started the business, and that was 10 years ago. And it's kind of taken on a life of its own, but things are going pretty well. So that's kind of how I got into this business.
Love it, love it. Yeah, nice, nice. Can you tell where to start? For example, if someone has an idea, but they need to pay bills to feed their family, to take care about their kids, and I know that 70% of people had their jobs. It's a lot, 70% of people. Can you tell, for example, if someone wanna jump on this field to be an entrepreneur, where to start, what to do first, because of course we need to feed our family and to have money, but sometimes it's a risky game, and if you go ahead in the right way, I mean, like to work hard to find what actually works for you. Can you tell or lead our audience in the right direction, where to start?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think the first step in any of it, I think one, you got to have some kind of a passion for digital marketing or
Yeah.
SEO or whatever it is, right? I think if you don't have that passion, it's going to be hard to take those first steps, because the first steps really is getting just a bit of experience, right?
Hmm.
And I was actually talking to some students on Saturday, and that was a big challenge of getting your first job, right? Or starting the company or whatever it was. But it's really just starting with some kind of project. So how can we, whether it's a passion project where you can build a website, even if it's fake company, you're just doing it to try to showcase what your skills, to build up your portfolio. I think that's the first step. And I think every city, they have tons of not-for-profit businesses, small businesses that really don't necessarily have a budget to work on their SEO or create content or create graphics or manage their social media. So I think there's a ton of opportunity out there for even internships, volunteer positions, or projects, being able to help out. I think it's really looking for those opportunities. But even for myself, when I was starting out the agency, when we were trying to find clients, we would go onto local directory sites and pitch our services type of thing. But when
Hmm.
you met with clients, they're like, "Can I see your portfolio? Show me some clients you've worked with. Show me some of your examples." And that was where you really had to lean into your portfolio of like starting off small, right? Of just like, it might be a friend that you help them on a site, or something you did for free, just to kind of build up that portfolio. I think it's the biggest thing.
Yeah, love it, love it. Can you tell how to find the first client? For example, if someone needs to compete with big companies that have authority, have a portfolio, have experience, how to find the first client when you have nothing, but you have this passion and you want to move on with that?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's tons of different ways. For us, I think our first client, I don't know if you like if you've heard of Kijiji. It's kind of like Craigslist type thing. We were posting ads on there. Again, this is 10 years ago now. I don't even people do this anymore. Now it depends what type of client you're trying to attract. In that case, we were a startup, and you're attracting someone who was for SEO is $200 a month. Like, this is not a huge client by any means, but for us, that's how we kind of got our first clients. Even referrals, right? So, for example, looking at your existing network. Generally, if you're using LinkedIn, if you make some kind of post or you talk to friends, usually you're going to be able to find someone in the network that might be able to send you a referral, right? So referrals are a huge source of business. So I think those are two really easy ways. Another thing we did early on was just blogging, right? Creating content on your website. I had this thing called Ottawa SEO blog. I don't have it anymore, but at the time I created this piece of content, and actually in the first kind of 6 months of creating content, I ended up getting just someone randomly stumbling upon the article, and they reached out to me and got a client out of it. So I think creating content's a really good way as well.
Yeah, love it, love it. Can you tell more about blogging? How to create a content strategy for, because, for example, if you blog and don't cover a buying persona, it doesn't mean that you can get results, even if you have this traffic. Can you tell how to create the right strategy that covers buying persona, especially in this marketing field when we have huge competition, many other websites like HRS, SEMrush, Moz, Neil Patel, Brian Dean, I don't know, name them, that take all this traffic online, how to compete with them when you I don't know, like create blog content?
Yeah, that's a challenge. There's so much noise, right? Like,
Yeah.
over the years, it's getting more and more competitive. Everyone's creating content, so you really have to stand out. I think with blogging in general, I think, and SEO in general, I think when people creating blogs, sometimes they overthink it a little bit, right? They try to, they go to SEMrush, they look up this, I want to rank for this keyword, I'm going to create it with this title. And, whereas really the biggest thing you want to do is just share your expertise, right? And share your unique point of view. And I think that's what could potentially attract that audience. I think once you create a piece of content, yes, potentially there's opportunity to optimize it and get some traffic that way. And that might happen, in an evergreen basis. But I'll give you an example. Like, we recently redesigned our website. I created this article in 2013 about social media post ideas. Like, just came up with this quick idea, just threw it on there, never really ranked for anything. Now, all of a sudden, 9 years later, it's driving like 200 or 300 visits a month out of nowhere, right? So you never know like what's going to happen long term. Now, obviously, some people need to see quicker results than that. I think a really good format too is for reach right now is actually, I'm sure you've seen it obviously and talked about it, but like TikTok. I think creating content on TikTok, it's a really good way to get impressions if you can share some of that expertise. You can embed that into your blogs as well. So there's some good opportunities there for sure.
Yeah, I agree with you. It's better to find channels that actually work. For example, even TikTok, why not? If you love to film these short videos, I think it's a good channel, even for marketers. Because, for example, when my son usually asks me about LinkedIn, what is it? I don't know LinkedIn. TikTok is good, but LinkedIn, no, it's it's useless. And for me, yeah. By the way, I like TikTok as well. I usually, when I'm tired, I can watch these videos like 10, 15 minutes. Yeah, it's interesting, creative. My wife loves Instagram. Why not? If you wanna jump on this field, just use Instagram. Yeah, I agree with you. It's better to find channels where you like and spend your time. Can you tell more about design? Because you have this background, how design background can help you with SEO game?
Yeah, I mean, I think with design, I think, first impressions are important. And the content of if you look at a piece of content, you can spend all the time in the world writing 5,000 words of content. It can be the best copy. But if the design's terrible, people are going to look at it and they're going to bounce, right? So I think design is really important. I think, Brian Dean from Backlinko always talks about this in his skyscraper technique about spending that little bit of extra budget on some, some custom icons or some custom graphics, because it's really going to elevate your content to the next level. Perception's reality, right? And first impressions, you only have one chance to make a first impression. So I think, design is very important when it comes to user experience and perception of your content. So I think you always need to look at ways you can kind of elevate that for your design.
You mentioned about branding. It's interesting that only on his blog I found high quality screenshots, because all other websites ignore it, including me, because yeah, I have no time with that. But even Neil Patel, Sam Rush, HRS, they usually use some web screenshots. It's hard to understand what's going on in the screenshots, but when he uses high quality, and once I read his article about that, it's better to create the best possible screenshots because it's UX. You need to satisfy UX. Can you tell more about user experience? For example, if we compare UX and web development, site speed, technical optimization, from your perspective, where we need to pay more attention today?
Yeah, user experience, I think, is something that's huge. I mean, we've been talking about it for several years now in SEO and how that's going to play a part in ranking and algorithms and whatnot. For our agency specifically, it's something we've been investing in. We actually have someone who's kind of a UX lead now, and there's been a lot more demand with clients as well around things like a UX audit. So, I think at this stage, most businesses, they have websites, they've invested in SEO, they've invested in paid advertising. But now it's really looking at the website from a holistic view of user experience and looking at things like where are things placed, what are site speeds, even like user testing. So actually taking some tasks that you would want people to complete on your website and seeing how hard is it for them to complete these tasks on desktop, on mobile, and really establishing, our buttons in the right place. Do you need to change the color? Do we need to remove this image because it's distracting the user from their main objective? So I think user experience is something, for us as an agency, we're definitely going to be investing more. And I think you can really move the needle with user experience. So I think it's really, really important. And there is a lot of crossover between design and SEO and UX. So I think it's something that, we're definitely going to be, from a training perspective, is something we're going to be working on a lot more for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, love it. I want to ask some issues that my clients have. And when I tell them you need to create high quality content, many of them reply to me, I have no experience with that. I need to develop, innovate my products. My competitors are big companies, and I need to overcome them with my unique selling proposition. Can you tell how to help them to find the right copywriters, content creators who can help them? Because, for example, 10 years ago, I had a team of copywriters who wrote about everything. Google ranked all our websites, but things changed. Today, Google needs content from experts because of EAT, because people are looking for this content. It's not about Google. I think people need this content. Can you tell how to hire responsible copywriters who can write high quality text and create high quality content?
Yeah, absolutely. This is always a challenge for business. I love that you brought up EAT. I think that's the biggest thing that we've seen with Google is they don't want to see just blog content from author. They want, high quality content from trusted resources. So I think that's a big part of it. Something that we've been working on with a lot of our clients around, developing content is at the end of the day, the client has that knowledge, that expertise. So how can we take that, package it in a clear and concise way, publish it to the site, almost basically as the client is the one publishing it. Or if we're outsourcing it, how can we, let's say it's legal content, how can we find the right writers to be able to create that content, and how do we position it? So that's always a challenge. I think with some of the more technical clients, what we tend to do is create content briefs. So obviously a big thing around content is making sure that it's optimized properly, that you're marking it up properly, that you have the right titles, tags, headings, all these kinds of things. So basically creating a brief with, okay, what is the topic we're going to write about? Here's some of the things we want to hit on from an SEO perspective, maybe answer these questions, and then what are some of the tags and things like that. So I think for more technical content, using content briefs has been really a good thing, where you can hand that off to a technical writer and they know exactly how to format it, and that really cuts down on the back and forth and some of those revisions. So that's something that has really helped us in developing that technical content.
I'm interested more about content brief because I often see when webmasters are using templates, just template, but it doesn't work for all cases. We have many different users intent, navigational, e-commerce, informational, transactional. Can you tell how to create content brief that satisfy user intent and really can help to create high quality content?
Yeah, I mean, it's something we're still working through. We only launched this about a year ago, and I think I mean, this is the big. Everyone's trying, like Surf for SEO, using the automated, intent and things like that. So for us, it's challenging because as an agency, I mean, we have about 200 different clients, and each one has different audiences that they're targeting, different personas and different intents and things like that. So I think when we first created the content brief process, we weren't really in depth. It was almost like 2 pages for a brief. Now we're actually kind of trimming it a little bit. It was like, okay, that's a little too much. So I think it's really a delicate balance of what are the things we want to hit on. But it also depends on the client. Like if the client's a local business with really simple type content, like if I'm a lawyer or a landscaper, like I don't need a hugely in-depth content brief. Where if I'm an accountant and I'm writing very in-depth copy, I mean, that's something we want to dig into a bit more. So yeah, using the various, I mean, we use a few different tools. Like I mentioned, Surf for SEO is one that we use that can really expedite the process of creating a content brief. But honestly, it's something that we're continually improving as we go. Like every month we're making tweaks to it to try to improve that overall process.
Love it. Can you tell more about management? If you have 200 clients, how to manage a lot of clients, because all of them have different issues, have different perspectives, goals, and I see when SEO agencies have no time with their clients, they usually send a monthly report. That's it. You just ordered the link building campaigns, get it. On this report, please pay more money. Can you tell more about management, how to satisfy 200 clients and provide high quality services?
Absolutely. I think there's always a push and pull in an agency, as you're growing. So, years ago when we started and you got 5 clients, you can spend a lot of time with your clients. You can really get to know your clients. You're building a relationship, you're building trust. And, even for myself, I was doing, like, in building the agency, I was doing a lot of that stuff. You're doing the sales, you're doing the production, you're managing billing, all those things, right? And like as you scale, okay, you need to delegate some of those responsibilities. And I think at a certain point, some of that stuff gets lost a little bit. Where if you look at it too much in the lens of process and departments, and like you delegate everything, and at a certain point, the whole relationship gets lost a little bit. I think that's something that we're even realizing recently, especially with some of the, things are tightening up a little bit at least in our economy, where people are they're really looking at the value of the services that they're paying for. They're really, making sure that they're getting a return, things like that. But I think something we're flipping a little bit is, for example, with our SEO services and our SEO specialists, it was almost too productized to a certain point where you kind of lose that relationship. So what we've been flipping it now is even in our reviews and our monthly reviews and things like that, we'll actually insert like a calendar, like book a time here with your specialist, and really trying to go over and above, and again, really reigniting that relationship, because that's where you build trust. And then in challenging times, like I think we will be seen in the next year or two, I imagine. I think that relationship and that trust is something you really, really need to get through some of those times. So I think that the relationship piece is really important.
Yeah, you mentioned things that SEO specialists usually use for SEO goals, but it's the same with clients, Yeah, Google cares about trust, cares about reviews, about anything, because people care about that, and we can see that customers care about that. Can you tell about the hiring process? How to find responsible people to your team, experts who can lead you in the right direction?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Hiring is huge, especially as you scale in an agency. You're always hiring, basically. It's kind of like with sales on the client side, you always need a funnel of prospects coming down the pipe. And, your side, it's kind of like you have 2 sales processes, right? So there's the hiring funnel, and it's a sales funnel. So personally, I've been very involved in the hiring process. I think that people are the lifeline of the agency, right? And when you're working with clients, they want to work with great people. And similarly, when we do employee surveys, employees want to, the reason they like working at an agency is the people as well. So when we're hiring, I think, some things that we've really been working on is, when we're creating job descriptions, it's really being transparent about what the role is, what the responsibilities are, what the expectations are from the beginning. Because when it's very clear for that candidate what they're going to be doing on a daily basis and how they're going to be measured, they know going in what the expectations are. And I think you have a better chance of success there. So I think that's really important. I think when hiring, that for us, I think the first thing we look at more than skills is fit within the organization and the culture. So making sure that these people exemplify the values that we look for. So some of our values for our company is we call it play, but we use it PACT. So it's play, accountability, collaboration, and transparency. So we'll actually ask in the interview, like, tell me an example of a time, where you've exemplified transparency, and just asking these kinds of questions to really get a sense of, is this person going to be a good fit? Because those are things you can't teach, those values, where skills we can teach, like we can train people on that stuff. So we want to make sure it's a good person and that they fit within the organization, the culture of the organization. And then the skills that can come with time, right?
Yeah, love it. Yeah, it remind me a story when in my team, I had issues. We were working for one big project, and I didn't have time to talk to my team, to spend time with my team, because we felt that it's important to create this tool. But in one time, a few good specialists left my company, and I didn't know why. They worked for many years, and when I started to research, to analyze, I got that this toxic environment I built, and I didn't know what's going on. After that, we changed some our attitudes to our team, created some cohesive events. We started to speak more with them, and today, for me, it's important culture. If you spend time with your team to talk to them, so you can change many bad things that might come to your door.
It's huge. And like just a similar, I went through a similar experience, and we're 10 years in now. I think it was about 5 years ago. We've been around for 5 years. Things are going well. We're probably about 12 team members at the time, and there was this 1 month where we had 3 people quit in a month. And I remember taking it really hard, like personally, like why would people quit? Like, why would they want to leave? Like, I don't understand. And really had to look in the mirror. And I think some of the biggest things is the fact that at the time we hadn't established a vision, a mission, and values for the team. So we ended up working with a business coach. He helped us work through. It actually took us a year to come up with the vision, the mission, the values. I think we kind of knew roughly, but we had to really, really think about it, document it. And then once we had it, so our vision is to be a global leader in marketing. Our mission is to make life better and make life better for our team and for our clients. And those values that I spoke of earlier. But then once you define those, it's actually living those out on a daily basis. So in our stand-ups with our team, it's, commuting, it's asking people, what are you grateful for? How did you exemplify one of our values? In team lead retreats, daily in the Slack, all these things are really like living that out day in, day out. Now for 5 years, we've been doing that, and you really, really see the impact in the culture.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, so valuable about that. Okay, let's talk about link building. Can you tell from your experience how to find the right link building campaigns? Because we have a lot of them, and I had a few clients who came to me and told, I don't know what's going on. For over 3 years, we couldn't get traffic, and I asked, okay, show me your website, and I found only spammy backlinks, spammy, and I replied to them, stop buying links on Fiverr or any other places, because it doesn't work. I don't know, for 10 years probably, or probably 5, I don't know. Even black hat techniques specialists can change. I know some good specialists who can provide black hat techniques. It works well for them. I don't recommend it. It's not my strategy, because white hat SEO works well. Why you need to take care about black hat? Tell more how to find the right building campaigns for specific project.
Yeah, absolutely. So our approach, over the years, I've dabbled in so many different techniques. More so the more black hat stuff is outside of the company, more for fun and testing. But our approach is very holistic, white hat techniques. We're never going to do something that's going to put a client at risk. Really, we years ago came up with the idea, like this is before it really gained prominence, was around digital PR for businesses. And honestly, I think the first subscription that we started using was Help a Reporter. I'm sure you've used it, Harrow.
Yeah.
where essentially, for those who don't know, it's a completely free service where it connects journalists with sources. So if I'm a business owner, let's say I'm a dentist, I can go on there and basically you get an email about 3 times a day. You can subscribe to certain topics. So it can be around business, it can be around, health, can be around fashion, whatever. And basically 3 times a day, you would get an email as a source from journalists looking to get sources for their articles. So they'll say, I'm writing an article about, dental trends in 2022. Who wants to, pitch? And then you do your pitch, and then it's a good place to get placements and links for your site. Help a reporter. Now, I will say it's getting more and more challenging to get placed because there's so many more people using it.
Yeah.
But also there's more journalists on there too. So I'd say for strictly like link building, I think is a really good thing, but also for brand awareness and people building out their brands. So that's one way is using Help a Reporter. But we've also been doing a lot more in-depth strategies. So our digital PR team, our total company is about 50 people. Our digital PR team is about 4 people right now, with about 7 in SEO. And we do a lot of techniques around citation building. Right. So I think a lot of people kind of like don't really focus on that a lot, but I think for local SEO, I think citations and directories, I think there is value, high quality type stuff, industry specific publications. And then of course the outreach piece, right? Of like outreach is a grind in itself, and it's very hard to scale, but I think for certain clients, I think there's a lot of opportunity, again, especially on a local basis, to get placements using outreach. So those are some of the kind of strategies we've been rolling out in our company.
Yeah, interesting. By the way, Haro has paid version. I tried it, but I think for me, when you have experience and habit to use free version, I didn't find any benefits of using paid version because they have the same design on this admin panel. You can use your keywords, but it's the same. And for help of reporters also, it's important to write first. To write after getting this request, like for an hour or 2 hours. But in the paid version, you can get replies like requests, even if they were submitted like 3 days ago, 5 days ago, a week ago. But I'm not sure that you can get links if you reply to those requests. So yeah, for me, free version is better. But can you tell more about PR? How to create the right PR campaigns? But I know even John Mueller replied in one of his tweets that PR sometimes provide much better results than technical optimization. And because we know that Google doesn't like any link building campaigns, they usually don't use them, create high quality content. But it's the first time when I found that John Mueller told, yeah, PR is good. Why not use PR? And once I found a freelancer on Upwork and told him, okay, I have no time to provide these PR campaigns, please do it. And he sent me after that 300 links, after a few hours, and I got it, something is wrong with that. And I asked him what's going on. He told me he used syndication, not distribution. Can you tell more about how to find responsible PR companies, including yours, and to know that these PR campaigns will provide value for projects?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, PR can be huge, definitely for SEO. And I think there's different ways of looking at it. I think for some of our clients, I find like the best PR campaigns that I've seen for generating links has been around like research reports, stats, anything that's going to be cited by a journalist or just really interesting news. So we have a client, they're in the, they do like pest control, pest removal, that type of stuff. And they do an annual survey of the top bed bugs places in the country, like the cities in the country, that list. And every year, every like media company picks it up and they put it on the broadcast, they put it in the newspaper. So that one does really, really well. And then I find like any like state of the industry type reports with, where you create this report and then again, do some kind of like, let's say, press release and then maybe a little bit of outreach tend to do really well. So anything I find with like stats that people can cite in articles tend to do really well from a link building perspective. And in terms of, finding an agency that does this, I mean, every city has, I'm sure a handful of companies that do this really well. There's more traditional PR agencies who maybe don't focus on the link building aspect, but they really know they have the connections with media and things like that, so they can help amplify it. Whereas maybe some more of the SEO or digital agencies have a little bit more experience on the link building side. So sometimes there's actually synergy. Some of our clients have a PR agency, and then we look at it from a technical perspective. There's some that do both. It is hard to do both really well, but you know, sometimes you can get lucky too.
Yeah, I know some people have no even link building techniques, don't use them. And by the way, Gordana from Workello shared with me that they got 1.5 million visitors a month without any link building campaigns. I replied to him, it's very hard, I can imagine. And sometimes they outranked HubSpot, you know, big brands. So, I asked her, please tell about your link building techniques. I don't know them. I know how to create high quality content. We don't use any link building techniques. Wow. Yeah, I think they create linkable content. You know, when you create high quality content and to deserve these links naturally, why not? So it's good as well. Okay, can you tell more about technical optimization? Because, for example, when I'm using Google Search Console or I don't know any other tool, Screaming Frog, I can see a bunch of errors. How to find critical errors that it's a must have to fix, and which one I can ignore? Because web developers usually reply, I don't know how to fix them. You know, we have a lot of mistakes, but I think some errors are critical. Can you tell more about that?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, there's a lot of different tools out there for you know, analyzing your site, optimizing your site from a technical perspective. I think it depends on your degree of like how technical you are, whether you're good with coding, whether you're not. Again, personally, I'm very technical. This is my background, you know, being a web developer, designer, things like that. So I'd say if you're less technical, I think Google Search Console has the features that they've been, you know, releasing have been really good around page speed insights and you know, identifying which pages are very, you know, don't pass performance or you know, really slow loading. I think they have some good features in there. Really simple one is the SEMrush, where you can basically, if you have a paid subscription, you can create a project, it can scan your site, and then we'll actually categorize the errors based on, you know, critical, warning, or notice, which can really help you prioritize the things you want to kind of focus on. And then similarly, I mean, you mentioned Screaming Frog, which I'd say, I think it's more so for the technical crowd to be able to scan their site and identify, you know, potential issues as well. But yeah, probably the most user-friendly one that we've worked with is probably SEMrush, where it really makes it easy to identify the errors, you know, work through them, mark them as completed, and you know, so for someone doing their own SEO, essentially, I think it's a really good.
Yeah, valuable. I have the question about how to learn SEO today. For example, if you started from scratch without any experience, knowledge, skills, what will you do to learn more about SEO?
Oh, that is a great question. I think the best way to learn is just do like go in, like if you know, just like go in, you want to create your own site, you want to mess around. So, you know, if you want to create a recipe site or you're into cars, create a site about cars and mess around, you know, like I think that's a really good way to learn is trial and error. That's personally how I've always learned. I think there's tons of resources with, again, YouTube. We talked about TikTok earlier. You can get little bite-sized tips. Every time I go in there, I'm learning stuff, you know, every single day of opportunities and you know, features and things like that. So I think you know, and of course the classic sites, you know, Search Engine Journal, Search Engine Watch. I think there's tons of great content on there you can learn from, and of course this channel right here. So there's a lot of good opportunities.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I think that on this channel you can learn from great speakers like you know, who can share this value, because I'm a student in this life. I just learn every single day, you know, and every time I can learn something new, new valuable insights, because SEO is huge. And by the way, can you tell about priorities? For example, if you have, for example, in your team, you have some specialists who pay attention to link building or content creation or technical optimization or UX. Can you tell how to unite all of them in one cohesive goal?
Yeah, that's a big challenge, right? Of like we call it collaboration. That's why it's one of our core values, and working together as a team to help move the needle. I think when you're, again, early on, when you're kind of doing a little bit of everything yourself, you can kind of work through it, I think. But when you have really big sites, big clients, big teams, and you have all these different deliverables, I think sometimes it can be challenging with, like you said, prioritizing. So for us, I mean, we use a project management tool called Rike. And we moved to it last year. And honestly, for collaboration, it's been one of the best tools we ever could have done. It has built-in like blueprints where when we sign on a client in a certain type of industry, we can create a blueprint for them. So we create kind of project management and tasks that are specific to their type of business. And then all the team is able to know, okay, here's what I need to work on at this stage. There's task dependencies. So let's say during a web build, in the first stage, these people are going to be working on these things. And then once they close that off, it creates the task for the next person. And the really cool thing about it is on the task, they have like places that you can comment, you can tag people. There's some automation built in. So for us as an agency with 50 people and everyone's working on so many different things, Rike has been absolutely one of the best investments that we've made for improving overall transparency as well as collaboration.
Love it, love it. I have the question about the future. Can you predict this future in SEO and digital marketing? Because many things are coming, like metaverse, many other stuff. Can you tell what kind of future people need to expect? And it's a good idea to start learning more about SEO and digital marketing today.
Absolutely. I think still automation, there's so much opportunity. I still think a lot of SEOs don't fully understand the opportunity, don't fully understand how to utilize it. I still think so many things are done manually that don't need to be done manually. You look at Python and all the opportunities there.
Yeah.
Obviously any automation using APIs, all the tools that are out there. We talked about content briefs earlier and how, some of these tools something that might take an hour or two for someone, you can do in 30 seconds. So I think automation is a huge opportunity. The reason why there's so many with SEO and digital marketing, there's so many menial tasks where you can spend tons of time on actual implementation. Ideally, we want to use the strategy piece, the knowledge, the expertise of that SEO or that digital marketer, and you want to automate as many of these menial tasks as you can. That's going to create more time and allow us to be more efficient. So I think automation is still a huge opportunity for any digital marketer.
And do you use AI tools for automation, or just some other tools?
We have a ton of different tools that we use. That we have. We use a bunch of different tools. It's something we're still investing in and spending time on. Probably not as good as a lot of the agencies out there, but it'd be nice because you could cut down on the amount of resources you're spending, things like that. But not enough, not nearly enough as we should be. I follow there's an SEO. His name's JC Schwinard, and he specializes in Python. I've been following a lot of his content. Amazing content on Python and Python libraries and some of these scripts that you can run to help with your SEO. It's really, really impressive. So that's something we're trying to lean into a little bit more.
Yeah. I have the final question about things what webmasters don't need to do and things that they must do. Can you tell them?
That who need to do?
Yeah, what is better to avoid? Probably obsolete techniques that don't work anymore, and things that everyone need to do today.
Yeah, I think something everyone needs to be doing. I think the biggest thing that I've seen, we talked about it so much, is just high quality content. I'm seeing it time in and time out. Every single time a client invests in content, that is what's moving the needle right now. It's amazing being in the industry for so long, where even like a few years ago, you could create content, sometimes it'd be really challenging to rank. I'm finding the better quality of content, it's finding a way to get ranked, even without any even doing too many optimizations and things like that. So I think more content, please. Yeah. And things you don't need to do. That's tough. I don't know. That's a really hard one. I just don't spread yourself thin. Don't spend time in areas that aren't generating a return. I think you really want to focus on things that are working and don't try to do too much at once, right? Focus in what's working, where you're getting traction. I think that's where you'll have the most success.
Yeah, I think sometimes webmasters don't understand multi-channel approach. If you have limited resources, it doesn't work. If you have 100,000 per month, I think you don't need SEO. It's better to find other channels because it's not enough. And multi-channel approach works well when you have resources, when you have experts, specialists. But when you are trying to be jack of all trades to cover all directions, niches with limited resources, it's not a good idea. I'm not sure about that. Yeah, Brock, it's a big pleasure to get on my show to learn from you. Tell our audience how they can reach out to you, learn more about you, follow you.
Yeah, absolutely. So on Twitter, SEO Brock, on LinkedIn, and then for any information on our agency, SEOplus.com. Anyone reach out, happy to help.
Okay, guys, you can find all these links in the description below. Listen to us on Apple, Google, Spotify. Thanks again for your time. A big pleasure. Welcome back anytime to share more valuable insights. And guys, find all links to Brock in the description below. Follow him, learn from him. You can see a lot of valuable insights, so valuable. And see you next time.
All right. Thank you so much. Take